So, hello everyone, welcome to Simran IAS Academy. In this video, we will discuss about the mains strategy for the General Studies Paper 4, which is the Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude. So, let's first discuss the syllabus of the GS Paper 4. So, this paper will include questions to test the candidate's attitude and approach to issues relating to integrity, probity in public life, and his problem-solving approach to various issues and conflicts faced by him in dealing with society. Questions may utilize the case study approach to determine these aspects. The following broad areas will be covered: ethics and human interface, all about that. And next is the essence, determinants and consequences of ethics in human actions, dimensions of ethics, ethics in private and public relationships, etc. Next is the attitude, content, structure, functions, its influence and relations with the thought and behavior. Next is the aptitude and foundational values for civil services like the integrity, impartiality, non-partisanship, compassion, etc. Next is emotional intelligence, the concept, its utility and applications in administration and governance, contributions of moral thinkers and philosophers from India and the world, public civil service values and ethics in public administration, status, problems, ethical concerns and dilemmas in government and private institutions, laws, rules, regulations and conscience as sources of ethical guidance, accountability and ethical governance, strengthening of ethical and moral values in governance, ethical issues in international relations, and next is the ethical relation in international relations and funding and corporate governance. So also we will the topics include probity in governance, concept of public service, philosophical basis of governance and probity, etc., and case studies on the above issues. So how to prepare for the GS4 paper? So GS4 can be quite confounding. That's because the questions in this paper tend to be subjective with no single correct answer. There can be multiple ways to answer a particular question and all of them might be right. Hence, though aspirants are clear about the syllabus, they are often confused about how to answer ethics questions. Given this subjectivity and confusion pertaining to this paper, it becomes challenging to come up with a convincing framework for answer writing. However, some broad principles can guide us in structuring our response. So how to prepare for the GS4 paper? GS4 syllabus can be divided into two segments. First is theory and next is case studies. So how to prepare for the theories portion? In this portion and to some extent in case studies too, questions are usually of three types. 1. The definition of an ethical issue. 2. The significance of the value. And 3. The application of that value in our daily lives. So how to prepare for the theory portion? To put it short, theory answers can contain the definition along with a vivid answer, along with a vivid example. So let's take the term integrity. So three questions that could be asked about it are: what do you mean by integrity? Definition of the value. What is the importance of integrity? In its absence, what are the consequences for an individual, society, country, and the entire nation, or in different walks of life? What are the importance of integrity? What are the challenges in cultivating integrity? How do you overcome them? So this is the application of the value. So next is how to prepare for the theory portion. So you may substitute other ethical values for integrity to see the kind of questions you may face in the test. Anticipate such questions and formulate a basic answer to all the ethical terms given in the syllabus. This exercise will help you immensely in preparing for the theory portion. So if the question pertains to what should we do? We should prepare a definition for each of the terms in the syllabus. If the question pertains to a specific ethical value, you must introduce the answer with a crisp definition followed by an example. The definition can be a personal one, reflecting what it means to you. So example 1 is integrity. So integrity means being being honest and doing the right thing even when nobody is watching you. It can be conveyed through a simple example: stopping at a red light signal at 3 a.m. in the night even when the entire road was clear. This is an example of my integrity. So example 2 is leadership. Leadership is the act of motivating a group of people towards achieving a common goal. Leadership provides inspiration, motivation and vision for the future. Example: Mahatma Gandhi showed exemplary leadership to unite the country in our fight for independence. And I always prefer a simple definition and avoid jargons. Simplicity is the best ultimate sophistication. There was an essay topic also on this. So this is the best quote for writing ethics answers. So another useful way of introducing your answers is by starting with an interesting quote and then proceeding to define the term. So example 1 is when you are answering a question on emotional intelligence, it can be started with the following quote: as much as 80% of adult success comes from EQ, Daniel Goleman, and then proceed on to defining the term. So example 2 is a question on RTI can be introduced with this quote: RTI is the master key to good governance, said by second ARC. So next is value mapping. The idea is to take an eminent personality and then map him or her onto the values they stood for. Here is a small example to indicate how you can map it. Try and add other values that you think fits with a particular leader and repeat this exercise for all the eminent persons. So the leaders, first leader is the Baba Sahab Ambedkar. So the values they stood for are social justice, human rights, rule of law, empathy and compassion. So next leader is JRD Tata, Jamshed Ji Tata. So the values they stood for are ethical capitalism, philanthropy and professionalism. So next leader is Mahatma Gandhi. He stood for integrity, moral courage, humility, leadership, etc. So in this manner you can map the values shown by all the major leaders. So also you can use the proper flow charts and diagrams like these. So civil service values, various civil service values, these are defined by the Nolan Committee as well. So the various values are integrity, neutrality, professional competence, leadership, objectivity, commitment to public service, empathy. So you must also collect real life examples from newspapers, life of famous personalities, your own life by observing others and the surroundings, from the religious epics like the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. You can also collect examples from those and use them in your answers. That will be very good for the answers. Okay. So now we'll discuss that how to prepare and or write answers for the case studies portion. So having a concrete framework ready while answering gives a sense of flow, coherence and structure to your case study. So else it faces the risk of steering away from the question and exceeding the word limit. Therefore it's helpful to categorize your answer under the following subheadings: subject matter, briefly in a line or maximum of 2, try to capture the entire case study. Example, in a case study dealing with an IAS aspirant heading for interview but sees an accident on the way, subject matter could be dilemma between achieving career ambition versus responding to accident victim as a good Samaritan. So you should also mention the various stakeholders in that case study. So list down the set of people who would be directly and indirectly affected in the case. For instance, a case in which you as a CEO of a PSU is facing severe unionism and strikes affecting company profits. Stakeholders are yourself, employees, government, public at large, local families, investors and shareholders. You may also represent this information through a spoke and wheel diagram. Okay, in this manner, stakeholders are various like the employees, I as the CEO, government, local families, investors and shareholders, public at large and the local families. So how to proceed further? Next you should write about the ethical dilemmas and the key principles. Enumerate the ethical issues faced in the case study. This is a critical part of your answer since you explicitly mention the conflicting values you face in your judgment. For instance, in a case involving mining in a tribal inhabited forest, Ethical issues will be development versus nature conservation, public interest versus protection of tribal land rights, economic growth versus equitable prosperity. So mention these issues in bullet points sequentially. Next is you should write about the options which are available to you. Write the 3-4 choices you have in the scenario along with the pros and cons of choosing each alternative. So 2 choices inevitably will be the extreme options. Okay, you can directly eliminate them, which are generally avoided as your choice. The remaining ones should be practical courses of action you wish to pursue. So next is choosing an option. Under this subheading, write about the course of action which can be a combination of the above mentioned options. It should be followed by a clear articulation of your arguments along with the quotes and examples to substantiate your point of view. The best option to choose in any given situation is not the most original but the most practical. If you come up with a spectacular innovative idea but isn't it really implementable, it's as good as doing nothing. So search for options that can be executed amidst the constraints a government servant faces. For instance, let's say in your district, tribals are agitating against a mining company planning to raze the forests and explore the mineral wealth. In such a case, a decision to put a complete ban or a moratorium on mining in your district is impractical and suboptimal. By prohibiting any form of mining, you will not help the cause of tribals who would have benefited from the new employment opportunities in the region. So choose an option where you always balance competing interests. So now, as we have discussed how you can proceed with the answer writing in the ethics questions, now let's discuss that which are the sources you can follow for the GS paper 4. So the best source which you can follow is the Learnbymaps notes prepared by the Simran IAS Academy, because they pick up the topics from major standard sources and they compile them in a very comprehensive and easy to understand manner, in which the information is presented with the help of diagrams, flow charts, and in a very infographic manner, through which you can easily understand the various dimensions related to a particular topic, and then you can handle all the questions, the direct ones also and the indirect ones also, which are asked in the exam from that particular topic. So to analyze this, to exemplify this, let's see some of the notes prepared by the Simran IAS Academy in the form of Learnbymaps notes to help you get a better understanding about these notes. So first is the ethics and aptitude. So they have presented the information like the ethics and human interface, essence of ethics, all the important terminologies which you have to study, which you have to prepare for while studying for the ethics paper. They have given the information in one place, and you don't have to refer any other source after you are studying from this. So next is the corporate governance, social responsibility, corporate social responsibility. There are a list of around 200 topics which you can study from these notes, and as you can see, there are this is given the Geo Ethics, which is a relatively new term. There can be a potential question on this. So Geo Ethics deals with way of Earth. Planetary sciences, applied ethics, studies the way of human thinking, significance of Earth system as a model. So environmental ethics should be adhered by all, by the citizens, by the governments, by the communities, and by the corporates. So environmental ethics includes sustainable development, desist from polluting air, water and soil, responsible tourism, and preservation of biodiversity. So next is consequences of ethics in human action. So act consequentialism, right or wrong depends on result of act. Right act produces good consequence. Two views are there. Okay, next view is rule consequentialism. Good or bad act depends on moral rules. So basis of their consequences is chosen based on the moral rules. So in this way you can study from these notes which provide the information in a very comprehensive and very infographic infographic manner, and the use of flow charts in these notes will help you to use these flow charts directly in the answers which you write in the ethics questions, which will help you to score very good marks in the ethics paper, because the theory thing everyone can understand, but the use of flow charts, the improvement of presentation is done by a very few students, and they get benefited from the use of the flow charts, and they score very good marks. Okay, so next topic of on which the notes are there are the futures of Indian ethics, and next is the ethical competency is there, notes on ethical competency is there, and notes on values are there, and notes on reformers are there, like social reformer, political reformer, religious reformer, etc. And also inculcating values. The role of family has been described in a very comprehensive and easy to understand infographic manner. And next is the political attitude. Everything is explained. Types of political visions and ideologies are explained. Various consequences of political attitudes in the ethics is also explained. Next is implications of moral attitudes. The positive and negative moral attitudes is explained. Factors influencing moral attitudes and some important moral attitudes. Okay, everything is explained. Next is the characteristics of compassion and need and significance of compassion in public service. It has been explained beautifully. And next is the impartiality and importance of impartiality. What are the factors on which impartiality depends, and why is impartiality one of the most important values for civil services? It has been analyzed properly, which will help you tackle any question which is asked on this, or any direct or indirect question also which is asked from this topic. Okay, so next is the notes on the ethical and moral relativism. It has been defined beautifully and comprehensively with the use of proper flow charts, okay, in a spoke and wheel manner. Next topic on which the notes are there is the ethical and moral prescriptivism, on which the notes are there, and also the on ethical and moral supernaturalism and ethical or moral institutionalism, the notes are there. So as you have seen, the notes prepared under the Learnbymaps initiative by the Simran IAS Academy is prepared in a very comprehensive manner and a very easy to understand manner, with the use of proper flowcharts, under which information from a lot of standard sources has been compiled in one place, and you don't have to refer any other book or source for studying the ethics paper, and you can study the ethics paper from this only. So you can contact them, the Simran IAS Academy, on the contact number mentioned, to get the sample copy of the ethics notes, and then you can also get the complete notes from them to help you score very good marks in the GS4 paper. So thank you so much for watching this video. Have a nice day.